From the beginning, God said, let us make man in our image. And since then, the enemy has been attacking, trying to thwart God's purpose. And we see the result in this demoniac of what happens to a person who has been taken captive, who has given themselves over to the wishes and control of the enemy. Something that's very frightening in this passage is it's not one, two, but legion. 6,000 or more demons in this person. And this person has resorted to cutting themselves and crying out, filthy, animalistic, living in such a way that no one wants to be around them. That's a pretty familiar lie that the enemy uses on us. No one wants to be around you. And we suffer in silence. This person living in the tombs. I've been privileged to live in the Middle East. I've lived in Turkey, and I've been in a lot of tombs, and I've been in a lot of ruins. And it's just something about those tombs and those ruins that seems to draw the terribleness, the smell of death, and a place of defecation. People use those places to relieve themselves or to carry out other unspeakable acts. And you step many times inside one of these tombs, and it's just like, whew, I want out of here as soon as possible. I have to think about that as I read the story because of the experience that I've had in trying to understand the history of that region. And just the idea of how death, the smell of death, the smell is terrible. For about a year, I was working in recovery and relief when in 1999, 2000, when Izmit, a city very close to Istanbul, had a huge 7.5 earthquake. And just whole streets were pancaked down, 10-story houses in the middle of the night. And you can just, the death rate was about 20,000 people. It was a very terrible smell as we drove through those streets, as we looked to help people, as we looked for ways to comfort and care. A hopelessness in the eyes. And yet here in this story, and I come back to the story, I got distracted there a little bit because of how destitute people are and can feel. And how you may be feeling this morning. And why do I keep making it personal? Because this story is for you and I. Satan continues to seek to attack those made in his image, in God's image. And so this story is given to us in order for us not only to take hope in Christ, which we will as we walk through the story, but for us to identify with the fact that when Satan has the upper hand, he is there to destroy you and I. And the misery that we see in this person who is possessed by 6,000 demons is just unreal. And Mark goes into it. He said he couldn't be bound. Every kind of treatment for his addiction, as it were, every kind of thing that he had been trying was not working. People had tried and had finally given up. They quit trying to bind him. They quit trying to save this person. He was a threat to them. And here he comes running down the beach to confront Jesus. And I believe because of who Christ was, as this man filled with demons came towards Jesus as an attack, he fell down. But he challenged Jesus. He said, look at what he says there. He says, and crying out with a loud voice, he screams, he says, what have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? And again, in that culture, it's much more so than maybe today. If you knew the person's name and you could say it first, it was thought that you had control over that person. And so this demon or this pack of demons was trying to take control of the situation. What have you got to do with me, Jesus? And Jesus is responding to him. For he was saying, come out of the man, you unclean spirit. Jesus stood firm and he exercised mastery in this situation. And he said, come out of him. But Jesus asked him, what is your name? And at a first casual reading, we think, well, why did Jesus, who is Lord of all, knows all things, why would he ask the demon's name? You ever wonder? Let me suppose with you. Jesus was there to show his glory, to show his power. Could the others see the demons? No. They could see this crazy guy, naked and bleeding and, just rated, viewer discretion advised kind of person there, acting out, rolling on the ground. But I believe for the sake of the witnesses, Jesus asked that demon to reveal himself. There wasn't one, but 6,000. Kind of puts you in mind of the Spartans or those impossible odds movies that we like to watch. Well, here's the Lord of the universe taking on, by the power of his word, 6,000 plus. And he commands him to come out. But to further amplify the magnitude of the storm that was in this person's life, Jesus gave permission to those demons who thought they were going to stay in the country and continue to oppress that area to go into the pigs. And for us who are animal lovers, God has to give permission for that kind of stuff to happen too. But those demons came out of that man and rushed into the pigs because of the mastery of Christ. And the pigs, according to the Greek, ran like one by one, but they rushed down and they ran into the water and drowned. That's an incredible visual, isn't it? Here's one person that suddenly, the power that comes out of him, the darkness that comes out of him, electrifies 2,000 plus pigs. And they race down the hill and into the water and drown. And scholars feel that the demons were disembodied at that point and confined to the abyss. Christ, master of all. So we see the misery, the impossibleness of what the enemy wants to do to a person. And we see the mastery of Christ by his word. Now, he's just calmed the storm in the sea, but now he calms the storm in the human nature.